Russell only landed 69. Do your math. That's 6 punches around. You're not going to win a title like that. Hey, it's Coffee with the Goose. Glad you joined me for another show. I am the Goose, and I'm here to fill you in on, not fill you in with BS, but BS. No. We're going to talk all real world stuff from the ring. Okay, got a lot of stuff to cover. Mostly Filipino boxers because a little memory jar for you. I'm married to a Filipino. My kids have the Pinoy blood. I've lived there. My wonderful producer and partner Jude is also from the Philippines, so I know all about ins and outs, at least as much as I can. And I love Filipino boxers, okay? Oh, goodness, gotta have our coffee, right? It is Coffee with the Goose. My coffee is, very strong, like my opinion, and got some in the creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. Okay, you guys want to talk about Mark Magsayo, and so do I. What an exciting night of boxing he provided for us recently from Atlantic City, New Jersey. He is the new WBC featherweight champion of the world. He defeated the previous title holder, Gary Russell Jr., in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He has another fight coming up already. They're quick. But before we get into that, and it's going to be a great fight, a battle of unbeatens as he makes his first defense of his title, let's go over the win over Gary Russell Jr. Again, okay, we watched the fight just like all of you guys did. And, we all have our opinions. I've been watching boxing for a long, long time, which doesn't make me any smarter than you guys, but I know I can see just like you guys can. Now, he won the fight, 115 to 113 on two judges' cards, and the third judge, I don't know what they were smoking, judged it a draw. I don't know where they came up with that. Basically what happened, Magsayo won the first 3 rounds, in my opinion. In the 4th round, he drilled Russell in the right shoulder, and Russell immediately showed it hurt. It hurt bad. And after that, he fought pretty much with one arm for the rest of the fight. Now, all honor, all respect to Gary Russell Jr. He's a great champion. It's tough to lose your title. I understand. But to say I gave him a boxing lesson, I'm not going to argue with Gary Russell Jr. I'm going to argue with others, including one of my favorites, Sean Porter. I love Sean Porter. Okay, Sean, we can disagree, right? A great champion you are and have been, but we don't see it eye to eye on this one. You're going to tell me, really, with a straight face, that Gary Russell Jr. beat him? No. He won the first 3 rounds. I think he won that round where he hurt his shoulder. And he won what we call the championship rounds, the 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. Well, I'm sorry, but my math, that adds up to 7. And in 12 rounds, that's a win. Okay? Now, Russell, again, to his credit, probably won a few of those rounds with one arm because he's so good and he's so hard to hit and he's so elusive and so talented and, he's a hard guy to beat. He'd only lost one fight up until then, and that was, who was that great, Vasily, yeah. But, look at the video again. And if you have to, look at it in slow motion. Because Magsayo, okay, let's do a little math, although this doesn't really count, but let's say Russell fought with one arm for half the fight, okay? Magsayo landed more than twice as many punches as Russell did in the fight. More than twice as many. I think it was 150 approximately 150 punches he landed, and Russell only landed 69. Do your math. That's 6 punches around. You're not going to win a title like that. And the reason, again, it was so close, and the judges' scorecard is throughout history, we've learned this. If you guys follow boxing, you know this. In order to beat the champion, if you're the challenger, you must win decisively. You have to make it clear, overwhelmingly, if you will, that you you won the fight, and that's what Magsayo did. So anyhow, I'm going to let it go with that. But come on, now, let it go. Let it go. It's just your guy lost. My guy's lost before. Take a deep breath and just move on, okay? Magsayo, I see him, one of the great, this is unusual, but one of the interesting descriptions of his modus operandi in fights is he does just enough to win. He's, he wants to knock you out, but he knows what it takes. He does his homework. Freddie Roach and Coach Marvin are his guys. So he does his homework. He gets a little stubborn sometimes with them. And once he is reminded that he needs to get back on track, back with the game plan, he's a smart guy and a very dedicated and tough fighter, and he does what he has to do. He's never lost, okay? So give the guy credit, His next fight is already set up. A mandatory title defense against a great Filipino fighter, a Mexican fighter. And you know what? Most of them tend to be pretty darn good. They're tough and they're very, they're fundamentally sound. Mexicans are all good fighters. And in this case, it's Rey Vargas. Vargas, by the way, is 31 years old, unbeaten, 35-0 with 22 KOs. And this will be the WBC Featherweight Championship of the World. Now, he's an orthodox fighter. Check that. Magsayo is an orthodox fighter. They both are. Check that. They're both right-handed. Vargas won the WBC Super Bantamweight title in 2017. His last fight was against Leonardo Baez, and that was a decision, excuse me, in November in Las Vegas. Vargas is a very, very accomplished fighter. He is the seven-time amateur national champion in Mexico. And he has advantages, not just with experience, but with size, just like Magsayo had over Russell. Magsayo is 5'10". Vargas is 5'10" and a half. Did I say 5'10"? 5'6". Magsayo is 5'6" tall, and Vargas is 5'10" and a half. So he's given up a lot of territory in height and also in reach. Magsayo has a 68-inch reach, and Vargas 70.5 inch. So he is a very accomplished fighter. They're both orthodox. So you throw out the left-handed component, excuse me, and it should be a great fight. You'll love this when you see a championship on the line, number one, but two great undefeated fighters going toe-to-toe. We have no idea when or where the fight will be. I'm going to guess it's going to be Vegas, but we'll see. It'll be on TV. You'll see it on one of the major networks, no question. And I'm very excited about this. Mark Magsayo, deservedly, sorry about that, Gary Russell fans. And guess what? Russell may end up fighting him again. He's still one of the top. The champion just doesn't go riding off into the sunset, even though he's 33 years old. He'll come back to the ring. He might fight the winner of this bout. You never know. So, Gary Russell Jr. is still a force to be reckoned with in the featherweight division. So here we go. Mark Magsayo, Magnifico, is set to fight another undefeated fighter, this time from Mexico, and we're very excited to see him take on Rey Vargas. We'll have more details as we get closer to the fight. That's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Let me know what you guys have to think. I'd love to get your comments, and we'll talk to you again soon.